Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth continues the story of new series protagonist Ichiban Kasuga as he heads to Hawaii in search of his mother. What makes this game's story so special is how it weaves into the previous Yakuza games, bringing Kiryu back for another adventure. This time around, Kiryu is older, wiser, and somehow even more deadly, complementing Ichiban's hopeful optimism and overall good vibes perfectly. For fans of the series, there's plenty of throwbacks and cameos to enjoy here, but even better is the way Infinite Wealth manages to tie old plot lines into new ones, setting the scene for future titles and rewarding those that have stuck around thus far. The main story is equal parts heartwarming, gripping, and intense, managing to present the absolute best the series has to offer so far.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle tells an epic, globe-trotting tale that ends up as a shining example of the long-running franchise. In fact, it's the best Indiana Jones story since Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, thanks largely to an excellent performance from Troy Baker. There's a dastardly villain, some familiar side characters, and plenty of twists and turns, all complemented by some truly fun whip-cracking action. Don't go in expecting Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to be an action-heavy FPS affair, as it shares much more with immersive sims like Thief and Dishonored. It's an Indiana Jones simulator, allowing you to experience the world as Indy as you solve puzzles, punch Nazis, and document the historical wonders that you find along the way.
God of War Ragnarok takes what made its predecessor so epic and dials it up to 11. The combat has been refined, adding in shield-focused abilities and skills, and traversal has been improved thanks to a bunch of genuinely fun new tools. Kratos and Atreus face down Odin himself in this gargantuan sequel and must recruit the help of some uneasy allies to get the job done. There's a great ensemble cast in God of War Ragnarok that helps elevate the story above others in the genre. There's a talking squirrel, more fun from everyone's dismembered head, and plenty of father-son anguish from Kratos and Atreus. The story wraps up Kratos' Norse story rather well, while leaving things to open for more adventures later down the line. If you enjoyed the first game, this one is an absolute must-play. If you didn't play it, then what are you waiting for?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth stands as the second installment in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. While its predecessor is a gorgeous reimagining of the first act of the 1997 classic, Rebirth goes a step further. This confident, fantastical RPG is jam-packed with meaningful storytelling, unforgettable characters, and plenty of engaging side content. The story follows Cloud Strife, a traumatized mercenary who, along with his colorful band of allies, is pursuing a quest to stop the nefarious Sephiroth from ending all life on the planet. Rebirth plays fast and loose with big themes and important ideas, giving its tale a sort of mythological quality. The RPG's dramatic, bombastic, and confident cutscenes are punctuated by a fantastic combat system, which, though nominally in real time, allows you to pause and make decisions. Rebirth tells an unforgettable tale, addressing themes of friendship, loyalty, tyranny, love, and identity. It's dense, but if you're looking for a tale that holds nothing back, then this could be the best story game for you.
The crowning jewel of the Mass Effect saga, Mass Effect 2 brings some much-needed sci-fi drama to our best story games list. Though all three entries in the core saga are fantastic titles in their own right, Mass Effect 2 stands apart, offering both the best standalone experience and the strongest story arc of the three. As you progress through the tale, you'll need to make difficult choices, weighing up challenging moral dilemmas throughout BioWare's ethics-based opera. In this third-person RPG, Commander Shepard has to save the galaxy from an ancient threat. No longer backed by the galactic government, they have turned to a dubious terrorist organization for funding and support. Throughout the game, you'll be gearing up for the Suicide Mission, a daring assault on the enemy's base of operations where the main characters, including your protagonist, can perish.
To this end, you'll need to assemble a crew, upgrade your ship, and prepare for the fight of a lifetime. In the process, your shepherd will forge new relationships, tackle new hardships, and possibly even fall in love.
The best story game of its kind, Red Dead Redemption 2 is an immersive, narrative-driven, third-person action game that presents a detailed and complex portrait of a gang of outlaws as they roam what remains of the Wild West, always hoping to stay one step ahead of the law. There's a deep romance to the title, which simultaneously lionizes the rugged individualism of the cowboy lifestyle, while in the same breath challenging the notion that such a way of life could ever have existed. Though Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't tell a particularly original story, the way it spins its yarn of choice is absolutely breathtaking, commanding the player's full attention with well-paced narrative beats and surprising plot twists to keep you on your toes. As you play, you will find that the game's triumphs and failures begin to feel like your own, a testament to the warmth and empathy that runs through the game's heart.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor manages to deliver on its promise of expanding the world of Cal Kestis beyond the events of Fallen Order. At the beginning of Survivor, we find the team somewhat scattered as Cal sets off on a mission to rekindle the Jedi Order and save other Force-sensitive individuals. Along the way, you'll meet some familiar faces and some wonderful new ones, hopping from planet to planet while evading the Empire. What Star Wars Jedi Survivor excels at is telling a much larger story when compared to its predecessor. There's more characters, way more twists and turns, and some great reveals that tie into the wider Star Wars universe. Pair this with excellent lightsaber combat and even a semi-open world planet, and you've got a very good time indeed.
The Last of Us Part 1 is, at the time of writing, the definitive way to experience the tense action sequences and melancholy storytelling that immortalized its original predecessor. Besides graphical improvements and the occasional mechanical tweak, the game remains much as it always has been, providing a gripping post-apocalyptic tale wrapped up in third-person action. Perhaps more than any other title on this list, The Last of Us Part 1 offers impeccable pacing, which is reinforced by game mechanics. Frantic combat set pieces are broken up by slow, pensive moments of scavenging, both of which are in turn punctuated by cutscenes that masterfully build dramatic tension. Naughty Dog's tale shows us that the most important thing about the end of the world isn't the disaster itself, but the people living with it.
Alan Wake 2 scared and thrilled us in equal measure, setting a new bar for modern survival horror titles. Its compelling storyline is full of twists and turns, more than doing justice to the Stephen King novels that inspired it. From Remedy Entertainment, the third-person horror title embroils you in increasingly unsettling supernatural events, blurring conventional narrative boundaries with all sorts of twists and tricks. Though its predecessor is an excellent psychological horror game, it isn't necessary to play the first game to understand the second, as the more recent title is built with newer players in mind. The story follows the twin perspectives of FBI agent Saga Anderson and Alan Wake himself, as they try to survive the supernatural threats that beset them. The grim tale burrows into your brain, luring you in with tantalizing and shocking mysteries until you're completely immersed in the morbidly fascinating game world.
Baldur's Gate 3 offers phenomenal storytelling, more than earning a place on this Best Story Games roundup. Contrary to CRPGs of the past, Baldur's Gate 3 provides a cinematic experience. Every cutscene is expertly voice acted, with motion capture assisting the voice actors and bringing the game's cast to life. The game also features a narrator whose lavish descriptions are as captivating as they are immersive. Larian Studios' hit CRPG presents you with a multitude of branching paths, all of which feel just as rewarding and legitimate as the others. This allows you to craft a tale that's entirely your own, offering you a fantasy playground that somehow retains a strong sense of narrative coherency throughout. Whether you're a goody-two-shoes paladin or a tyrannical sorcerer, you can play the game your way. No mean feat for a title of this scale. Clair Obscur Expedition is an instant modern classic, simultaneously paying loving homage to classic JRPGs while subverting tropes in favor of innovation. The story is a sprawling epic featuring performances from a star-studded cast. There's Final Fantasy XVI's Ben Starr, Baldur's Gate 3's Jennifer English, Daredevil's Charlie Cox, and a Lord of the Rings' Andy Serkis. Vibrant world design grabs your attention immediately as you set off an expedition alongside a crew of beautifully realized companions. Visually, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is easily one of the best looking games we've ever played, backed up by a unique art direction inspired by French art history and architectural principles. Fans of the grand and sometimes operatically inclined plots of classic JRPGs will find plenty to love here, though these classic leanings are intertwined with dark, relatively grounded twists. For fans of Final Fantasy, Suikoden, Chrono Trigger, and Dragon Quest.
Thanks to the much-celebrated Patch 2.0 update, Cyberpunk 2077 has come into its own, ensuring that bugs and clunky mechanics no longer get in the way of storytelling by doing away with both. It may be over 3 years since Sci-Fi RPG's launch, but CD Projekt Red's dark cyberpunk tale now stands on its own feet, earning a well-deserved place on our list of the best story games. With memorable characters and more than a few shocking twists, Cyberpunk 2077 offers a relatively linear story, but still squeezes in ample opportunities to confront you with difficult moral choices that roll on to affect the narrative. Despite this linearity, the story is powerful and confronts important themes, both personal and political.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2 picks up with Miles Morales and Peter Parker as they swing from building to building to stop a gargantuan threat against the city. From the get-go, the sheer scale of the game impresses and continues to wow right up until the credits. It's arguably the best story you can play on PS5, one that ties together threads from the previous 2 games while promising big things to come. The main story of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 focuses on Peter Parker, who, after an encounter with the Venom symbiote, gains new abilities and a heightened sense of power. This is, of course, a familiar Spider-Man tale, but there are some clever twists and turns along the way here to keep things fresh and interested. Namely, any involvement of Harry Osborn, and of course a second Spider-Man in Miles Morales. Miles' story in particular is a heartfelt one about how revenge always comes at a cost, with excellent performances all around. Sony exclusives are known for their larger-than-life stories, and Marvel Spider-Man 2 is no exception. Thrilling Marion's huge set pieces and Easter eggs galore make this one absolutely essential if you have a PS5.